Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Real Talk. And tonight, I'm joined with Jeremiah and David. And we're going to be diving into a movie that I had never seen before. And the more that I think about it and have listened to some videos about it, the more I have to say about it. So before we dive into a movie called Warlock, please go to all the social media pages. That's Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube, the other people's show. And if you're watching right now, we have it wouldn't be a split screen. It would be what? Tri-screen?
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be called, really. But hopefully it's not unlistenable on there. We've been trying to work out some kinks. So also, if you share and like the video, there is a $25 bounty reward that will be announced next week. So thank you all for tuning in and sharing. So what's been going on, you guys?
Not much.
Not much?
A lot of the same old.
Yeah,
Okay. So
basically.
so last week at the end of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, David had said something that something about a demon's footprint being hammered or a nail in it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's all
yeah.
you really remembered?
Well, the scene where the guy gets his tongue bit out and where like
Right at
his
the
feet
beginning.
print get like the nails hammered in it.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
are scenes on it that it was from whenever I was little, probably like 4 years old.
So you hadn't seen
Really
this movie since then?
Yeah.
And what about you, Jeremiah?
Oh, I remember seeing the movie at his house, but I don't ever remember watching it.
So you actually had the movie?
Yeah, yeah.
You had
he
the
had it on
VHS or was it
yeah,
DVD?
VCR, yeah.
Okay.
I had it on
okay.
VHS. It was in the case it was in was actually like the same pictures, like the poster, like what you'd see on. It's like the white background.
Yeah,
you see
with the
Warlock.
shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger seeing that exact poster in the VHS cassette at the video store.
Yeah.
There's 3 of these, 3 Warlock movies.
And see, I didn't know that.
I knew there were 2. I didn't know there were 3 until I did research on this episode. And what I expected Warlock to be, just from looking at the poster in the VHS case as a kid, is totally different than what it is.
Yeah.
Way different.
Yeah. So, pretty much the basis is a warlock flees the 17th century to the 20th century with a witch hunter in hot pursuit. Wouldn't that pretty much be the synopsis?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the director Steve Miner, and I didn't know this, but Steve Miner was a horror movie director anyway, directing Friday the 13th Part 2, Part 3, a movie called House. The movie that I actually showed Jeremiah the DVD of a few weeks ago, Soul Man.
Oh, yeah.
Wild Heart Can't Be Broken, Big Bully, and Halloween H2O.
Ah.
So I didn't know that he had directed some of these movies. And so he's got quite a resume.
Yeah.
He does.
And
Some
then you've
big
got
names in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, do you all have now, David, I don't know if you watched them all, but the Friday the 13th franchise, have you watched any of those?
Yeah. Yeah, actually. Yeah, I've actually watched them all. My wife started playing the video game on PlayStation. They've got
Okay.
that's out.
Yeah,
I've
they
got
did a
it,
really good
and
job with that game.
She was like, I want to go back and watch the movie. She literally went back and watched literally from the first one to the last one. Like, I'm pretty sure all the way. Like, she even made sure she watched the Jason versus Freddy movies.
You know what? I started watching that the other night again, but I only watched the first part of it because I switch around. I can never decide.
It's very offbeat from the normal Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and then a lot of people think the one I think it's Part 4, Friday the 13th Part 4. A lot of people say that one is their favorite one, and that's the one where Corey Feldman's a little kid,
Yeah.
and then he kills Jason with the machete in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. But yeah, he was this director has had a resume full of horror movies of the past. And then you've got Julian Sands as the Warlock, Laurie Singer as Cassandra with a K.
No, you gotta include that.
And then Richard E. Grant as now I never heard him called Giles in this. Was he called that at the beginning?
When
like
at,
one time,
towards the end, whenever they pulled up the, well, they didn't pull it up. When they went to desecrate the gravesite or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
only time his name was ever shown
Yeah.
was whenever they cleared the tombstone off.
Because I was trying to think back, and they refer to him mainly. They don't even call him
Redfern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Redfern, which is what I would want to be called if that
Yeah.
were my name.
Me too.
That's why wouldn't you want to be called that?
Yep.
Now, had you all seen Julian Sands, who plays the Warlock, in any other movies before or since?
He looks. I mean, the name sounds familiar, and he almost looks like the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
But like,
Now, Julian Sands is in the movie called Arachnophobia
Okay.
with the spiders.
Yeah.
He plays.
see, I avoided that
sci-fi
movie.
movie.
I hate
I've only seen it
spiders
once. I've
growing
never
up.
watched it again. The spiders, was just too much to take.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I don't know if they. I remember thinking they looked real at the time. I don't know if it holds up. It's a 1990 movie.
Yeah.
But and then Julian Sands, he's a small role in a Nicolas Cage movie called Leaving Las Vegas. He plays the pimp in that
Leaving
movie.
Las Vegas. Which one is that? You
That's
said
where Nicolas Cage goes to Las Vegas to drink himself to death.
Okay,
Oh.
me and my mom watched that one. It was like on YouTube Free Movies one time. And I tell you what, that movie made me really sad. That
Yeah.
was that.
When Nicolas Cage won the Oscar for that movie,
And like that chick, she was like a stripper, like a
kind of a prostitute.
prostitute. Yeah, and she was like taking care of him and stuff.
Yeah, he hires her to take care of him, and Julian Sands.
And did she end up actually like falling in love with him in the movie? Yeah.
Yep,
It's
but he
great.
does drink himself to death, though.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, but it's a tough watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then Richard E. Grant, he's been in quite a few movies, but he's also been in the movie Spice World, the Spice Girls movie. If you've ever seen that movie, have you? But you've heard
I
of it,
didn't
haven't
even
you?
know there was such a
I
thing.
didn't
Really?
That's,
I did.
Yeah, there's a Spice Girls movie. But
No.
Richard E. Grant has been
I mean,
in.
you know, I guess we shouldn't be surprised because we got like a Josie and the Pussycats movie and a, you know,
They had their own cartoon, dude.
We got Cheetah Girls movies also.
Yeah.
True. So yeah, Richard E. Grant, he's been in. Let's see. He was in the Dracula in 1992. He was in Spice World 1997. A movie called The Little Vampire. Have you ever seen
Oh
that?
yeah, I've seen Little Vampire growing up. Yeah.
He's been he was a voice in Corpse Bride. He played Lord Barkis Bittern.
Was it a dog?
I've not seen that movie actually. I've never seen that one.
Marcus Bitterman.
But you know the one, it's the Tim Burton one.
No, it's Bitterman. That's I think that's you see.
Yeah,
the
Bitter-
Corpse Bride. That's,
yeah.
That should be his father.
That's who he is then.
Yeah.
He was in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. He was a general.
Skywalker.
Pride, I guess. Pryde.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hitman's Wife, Bodyguard. So he's been in quite a few things that people, they might not know his name, but they've
Yeah.
seen his face, and he's not super young in this, but considering what I know him as, he was pretty young.
Yeah.
And Julian Sands, do you all know what happened to him last year? He went hiking in I forget wherever he lived at in California, and he either went missing and got lost and died, or was
Okay.
killed by a mountain lion.
You know, I think that's why he
What?
sounded familiar.
Yeah, last
Wow.
year, I think he was killed by
Yeah.
a mountain lion in
Oh,
the
that's
in the
sad.
California hills. So, but yeah, this movie is not what I thought it was. In an unexpected way.
Mm-hmm.
Some fun facts about the movie. Julian Sands originally didn't want to he didn't read the script for the movie. He thought it might be just another slasher film. But once he read the script, he was captivated and quickly became excited for the film. And I think you can tell that by watching his
Yeah.
performance.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
He acted like he wanted to be there.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only crappy thing was the flying.
That was pretty
Yes.
crappy, but I mean, it's what 1988. How are you?
89, I think.
Yeah,
88.
somewhere around
It,
there.
it was. It was. I don't know if it. Yeah, it was. Here it is. In the facts as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. The fate of the unbaptized male child was intended to be shown, but was deemed too graphic and gruesome.
Okay.
And I feel that happened a couple times throughout this movie.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like an R-rated movie to
No,
me.
it
seemed like a
didn't.
PG-13
Absolutely
movie.
not.
There was a few little
I
things.
think it's because of the amount of times he said the F word.
It could have been
Yeah,
that's
but-
true.
yeah.
There's a few little graphic scenes that like the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
but even with the eyeballs, it doesn't show him doing it.
I mean, he gets his
No.
finger cut off too.
That's true too.
I
And
mean,
Another thing I don't understand. What was the significance behind that ring?
Yeah, they never did elaborate on that. He
We-
just wanted it and took it.
maybe
I think.
maybe he just wanted it. I don't know.
Well, because gotta look at it the same place. It was like a spiritualistic kind of view. So like maybe it was just brimming with energy.
I figured the chick was going to try to get his ring back, like whenever she got her bracelet back.
Right?
That's what I thought, but it never was even mentioned in the movie again after that.
No, it wasn't. Julian Sands was originally considered for the role of Redfern and Richard E. Grant as the Warlock.
Oh,
So when the movie first went out, it was vice versa, which I don't think would have worked nearly as well. Do you?
I don't think so. No, I couldn't see him playing a reverse role
Because the
Not at
Warlock
all.
didn't seem to have
Yeah.
any caring emotions at all. The only time he even seemed remotely acting like he was caring was when it with the kid who the
Oh, yeah, they was
unbaptized
playing that,
kid.
like, little handheld football game.
Yeah.
And then you seen what happened there.
And what's funny about that is that kid, I knew he looked familiar. His name is Brandon Call, and he was a teenage actor in this 90s show called Step by Step.
Oh, okay.
And then I looked him up on IMDb. It was him, and I knew he was a kid actor, but I was like, I wonder what that guy's done since then. And after Step by Step, he retired from acting. So that was kind of cool that he was in this movie as well, just randomly as a little kid that gets killed. And this is the second movie week in a row where children have been killed.
I know, and that's something you don't normally see in
No.
movies. It's wild, and
Yeah.
I know. I wish I
I'm
could have
sorry,
been here
y'all.
for the last one, but
That's my bad.
I'm still getting that.
no, them are the good ones, dude. Stuff you don't expect.
Please let us know on the Facebook feed. We're getting a no sound. So wouldn't you know that it's no sound whenever
You're muted too, ain't you?
Yeah.
I think we're all three.
Yep. Maybe if we just try one.
All right, I unmuted this one, so that we can hopefully somebody on there will let us know if it's muted or if it isn't. I can hear myself a little bit talking through there, but we'll find out in just a moment. This film was completed in 1988, but the New World Order Picture filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and instead of going straight to video, Trimark Pictures purchased it and released it, and it became a small hit in 1990. And did you all know that there were 2 sequels to this?
I didn't.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen either one of those?
Well, my stepdad, when I asked him about this movie, every time we do a movie, I ask him about him because he's watched everything, and he's like an encyclopedia of crazy knowledge
Right.
about stuff. dude.
Really anything pop culture.
Yeah. And he was
Right.
like, "Oh, did you know there were two sequels to that?" And I was like, "No."
I didn't know
I
it
did
until I
not-
got on
I didn't
Tubi
even
to
know
not
there
to
was a
watch
first
this movie.
one.
I think the second one's on Tubi as well, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
The second and third one.
Oh, and the third
Yeah.
one as well?
Yeah.
Apparently, the third one doesn't have. I'm assuming Julian Sands in it. I
No,
think it's
I don't-
a different person
Yeah.
playing the Warlock.
Yeah,
maybe.
it looks like it. Now, I did read where the second one kind of ignores like this one ever existed.
Oh. Okay.
So I'm guessing
kinda like a
the budget
remake.
was a little bit more, which I think the budget on that one was $9 million. This one was $7 million.
Okay.
So, and both of this one and the second one went to the movie theater.
Mhm.
So that was the third one. It didn't do that.
Straight to film or straight to television or straight to DVD.
I think it was straight to DVD.
By that time, it probably would be.
And in the Spanish dubbing of this movie, The book does not reveal the name of God, but of the devil instead. So I wonder if that was like
What?
done intentionally. I don't know. That's a weird
Maybe
thing.
they
to,
like actually thought that was.
yeah, very
God's
very
name.
odd.
Catholicism.
We had the budget of $7 million and it made 9.1. I tried to find a worldwide total. I could not. So maybe it just went to theaters in America and went, to
That'd be
video
my
in the
guess.
other
Should've
countries
been,
as
yeah.
well. And a Rotten Tomatoes score 56%, audience score 48%, and IMDb of 6.2.
IMDb.
That's where I actually
Should've
go.
been.
That's probably my.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I use the Facebook app, quite a bit. But IMDb is probably my second most used app.
I could agree with them. I'd at least give it around a 7, man. I mean, I'd have to.
It is. I
So
mean, the only real bad aspect behind it is, it's an old movie using CGI, so it's like the magic.
Early
and the-
CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The magic, obviously don't look so good. And then, like, the flying's just obviously him in a harness on a string getting led to the boat. Like, it's just,
So,
you know.
what did you all think about the plot and the story? So basically, he's captured at the very beginning in what, the 1600s or something like that.
Yeah, 1691.
And does he teleport himself?
No, the god he's talking about.
Teleports him to the future.
Yeah.
So to the 20th century, which was
centuries.
1988,
Yeah.
present day 1988 at the
Because
time.
like we get sort of like a small reveal, like kind of like what this god he's talking about like looks like whenever he sees that spiritualistic woman and she's like channeling a spirit for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And and finally the spirit's channeling like and you can see like in the woman's face like how he's they look.
Yeah, and I thought that was a pretty effective scene. I
It
really
was.
did.
They did really good with that.
So he's transported to the future, and he's transported basically in what's her name, Cassandra with a K's apartment, pretty much. And he puts a curse on her where she ages 20 years every day.
20 years every day. Yep.
Okay. Now there was a problem that they had with this actress that I read, and she didn't want to do the prosthetic nose to make her age from 20 to 40.
I thought there was just one little thing off with the aging, and
Her nose doesn't change.
yeah.
And really, it's just her hair and a few more wrinkles around the
They
eyes
just
and the
give her
forehead.
gray hair and wrinkles.
Her body doesn't change. Like, she doesn't gain weight or there's not wrinkles. And she wears pretty much...
The same thing.
Because the movie takes place with over, 2 days?
2 days, yeah. It has to be 2
Yeah.
days.
Because she's about, maybe 3.
She
'Cause
was 20 when the movie started, and she was 60 when she got her bracelet back. And
So,
it ended the
3
next
days
day.
then.
Yeah.
And
she was moving towards that 72-hour period.
yeah. So, yeah, other than that, a little bit of makeup on her face, she didn't seem 60 years old.
Yeah, no.
At all.
No, not at all.
And her voice didn't really change when she was 40.
No, she tried.
When she was
did a little
older,
bit of this.
Yeah. But you could tell it was...
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell it's a little forced.
Now, see, that was one of the charms I thought with this movie as well, but one of the things I didn't expect. Because Julian Sand's character, the Warlock, is the only thing we know him as.
Yeah.
He's pretty serious.
Yeah. The whole movie.
Yeah, he doesn't... I mean, if he does any... Does he do any...
I don't think he
Jokes?
does any. No.
No
There's
one-liners
no
or anything?
punchlines for him.
Yeah,
It
no,
was-
And a few
real
things
joke
are
was
like-
literally just the flying. That was like literally whenever I seen the flying, it made me laugh.
It made me laugh, too. So, it builds up to the flying because this is kind of like a slight horror movie fantasy.
yeah.
Which there's not many movies that do that.
No, not a bit.
But it seemed like a lot of the horror movie aspects they kind of left to the imagination. Like they didn't show the killing of the kid, just the drinking of the fat. They didn't show the actual him taking the eyes out, just him raising the eyes up.
Yeah.
So there were a few parts where they could have made it
Even
more
when
of an
he bit
R-rated
that
movie.
dude's tongue off, man, I thought that he was biting the dude in the neck. I thought he was a vampire at first, and I was like, "What is going on here, man? This is going to be a werewolf versus or a vampire versus witch thing
Okay.
or something." I didn't even know he was going to be the Warlock.
Well, I I knew that something was that he was going to get his finger chopped off because I saw the way it kind of somehow made the ring very evident.
Yeah.
And then that guy just picks up a knife and starts chopping up, food. Lays the knife down. The Warlock's looking down at it, and then next thing he knows, cuts the finger off, or we don't know why. Bites the tongue out. Why does he bite the tongue out?
I guess he was eating it. I don't know. He threw it in a frying pan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and I laughed at that part.
And you got to think whenever you move ahead, just like to the next scene, whenever they're talking about like the guys like the report they get, like looking at his like body, they said he actually had like bite marks on the back of his neck too.
Huh.
So like, and we obviously didn't see that. So I wonder why he was biting the back of his neck.
I know. I was wondering that because he's not a vampire,
no.
dude. It's like the whole movie. They're trying to convince you that he's a vampire when he's really a witch.
Right.
Like, because when he was first chopping the garlic and stuff up, man, I was like, yeah, that's really what made me think dude was a vampire. And then throughout the movie, you're just like getting proven wrong.
Yeah.
It's like they want to set you up to think this dude's a vampire, and then through the whole movie, they're like, actually, they're not. He's not a vampire.
And there's little things that Redfern throws in, like for the longest time, the pennies in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I know he said like it was something, but like it wards off magic. But I've never heard
new magic,
anything.
like new spells. I think is what it's supposed to ward off.
But what? I mean, I know it's just a movie, but she's chasing him on the train,
trying to get her bracelet.
Oh yeah, whenever he's like,
that was an annoying part, dude.
Yeah, it was because. I got to be honest. That part made me laugh.
Yeah,
because
I mean, why wouldn't?
It was like part of the movie was serious, but part of it wasn't.
Like what was the element behind him putting the board on the bottom of his foot? Why did that prevent him from getting hurt?
I wondered that too.
Because it's like it's supposed to be going through the bottom of his foot. If a nail's going through the bottom of his foot,
But no,
that might be wrong.
Maybe it's going through the wood
instead of his foot. But I mean, the nails she were putting in was that long, and the board was
the board was only like what, half an inch?
Yeah.
But see, then check this out. If his head was laying down on wood while he was laying there, how would it have affected him whenever she hit the hammer, the nail in that his head indention in that pile of dirt?
Yep.
True.
It was the back of his head.
Now that was a cool idea. I've not seen that idea with the hammer and the nail and the footprint in a while. But he does say it earlier in the movie.
It was a blessed hammer.
That's true. I was looking for it because that's what led you to think about this movie. What made you even think about that last week?
I'd
I'd have to go back to the show and listen to it. It's mentioned at the end of the show.
I can't remember. It's just one of those things I just remember from my childhood, I guess. Just kind of want to go back and look at, because it was just something, I'd seen the movie once.
Mm-hmm. And that part stood out.
I remember those scenes. And
was it how you remembered when you saw it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, to a T. Both like the scene where he bites the dude's tongue out of his mouth, and then the scene where she's like hammering those nails into his footprints in the sand. Like it all came to me, and it's funny because whenever I seen that scene with him and the little boy, that was a memory unlocked too, because I remember that scene plain as day.
As soon as you saw it, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I love when things when things like that happen.
I was like, this is definitely it. I was like, I'm glad. I'm glad we went. I'm glad I suggested this movie because it was. I loved it. It was a good one.
Now, did you have a? Now there was some. Did you have a favorite scene? Least favorite scene?
I mean, the part where he's like flying around the field, and like where he's like, you can see him going into a barn, and it's like he's just like dangling, and he's like flying.
Go ahead, Jay.
My favorite scene's right near that part when he goes to throw that. What was it? It's like a compass or something that was on top of the barn.
Yeah.
He throws it at dude, and you can see it. It's going like this, and then it just all of a sudden curves like this and hits him. Like he has,
and then the way he screams there too.
Yeah.
I knew like when whatever the magic came out of his hand. What was it supposed to be? Fire? I don't know what it was supposed to be.
Yes, I don't know
because no one got burned.
I think it's just like magic.
Magic.
Like
So obviously that looked very fake.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting him flying to look that way.
I think they just put it there to like I think that's come up recently. They'll talk about in movies that are like, the things you see in like in anime, like transformations and stuff.
Right.
It's not actually happening in the show. It's just there for us to see, so we know that like the stuff is happening.
Right.
And so like I feel like it's an essence sort of like that. They're just showing
Like
it's
an
not
aura
actually
kinda.
happening in the movie, but
Yeah.
they put it there for us to see, so we know some magic's happening.
Right.
So some
True.
guy's just not
Yeah.
sitting there doing this.
Doing his hands like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for the flying though. Like like there was like I liked the movie, but it was not. It wasn't what the poster. I didn't think represented the
No, not
humor.
at all.
Like
Nope.
Because there's like one part where they're talking about like take his boots off. Why we gotta take his boots off?
yeah, and then Redford and Cassandra's. They had a lot of funny moments together.
Yeah, they do.
And I even thought, like, at first I didn't like her character because she was kind of a jerk in a way.
Yeah,
to
she
begin
was
with.
very snooty.
Yeah, and but I did like the fact it was like in 1988, and you could like see all the because it takes place in multiple places. Multiple because they travel
Yeah.
around. But I don't think we mentioned this earlier, but when the Warlock comes back, he's wanting to undo the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's wanting to find out what God's
he's wanting
name
to
is
do
backwards.
uncreation.
Yeah.
So
He's
to
gonna
do
start
that, he has
uncreation.
to get the pages of this ancient
Like
spell book or
tone.
Yeah,
something?
that they had
None.
split up.
Yeah.
So he has to go to multiple places
Yeah.
where the compass shows that the pages are. Is that what's happening?
No, the compass was something that Redfern uses, and what he uses is it helps him locate the
Yeah,
The
he
Warlock.
had to use the
Because
Warlock's
after
blood.
he stabs the Warlock, he throws that thing that Jeremiah's talking about into the Warlock. He brings it with him, and
to the burial ground.
and if you notice, there's later in the movie, there's a scene where he drops it, and it looks like it's like on a rock, and it's like it's when they're at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And it's like it spins around, and then like he's like up above, and it like turns up.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I remember now.
So it like ends up serving as a compass itself.
So that was a nice little
That was neat.
addition. But yeah, I don't know. I had a couple of different favorite scenes. I like the scene where he chopped the guy's finger. I didn't
Oh,
expect.
yeah.
I didn't expect the tongue thing. That caught me by surprise because it happened. It's real quick. It's only about
very quick.
3 or 4. The whole scene's only 5 seconds. It's not very long.
No,
Because he
it
chops
don't
it off,
last long.
bites it out.
Yeah.
But he digs at the tongue for a minute.
He does.
Yeah.
It's like 3
Oh,
seconds
That's
right
why I
there.
thought he was
Kissing
sucking
scene.
dude's neck, but then it's like, wait, are they kissing? And then he spits dude's tongue out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? What just happened here? Did they make out, or did he bite the dude's neck? What just happened?
But yeah, what about did you have a least favorite scene?
No, I can't really say I did it.
I don't think I had a least favorite scene. I thought
It kept my attention the whole time.
I thought it should have been 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah, I tell you,
But it was like just a few seconds here throughout.
yeah.
Yeah.
My least favorite scene, I would probably have to say at the end when they're about to finally kiss.
Yeah.
Like she starts acting like she's a human and not above everybody.
Yeah.
They're about to kiss finally, and then he just disappears.
True.
And she
To the
follows this little tornado soul to the to his headstone or his casket, and she ends up going after he dies and just like living her best life. It shows her at the end burying the pages in sand dune or something.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
salt flat.
Salt flat, yeah, salt flat, not
No.
sand.
I might just have to watch the second one just to see what happened.
How that ends up, yeah, because I want to know if they got that book back, how the world they did it, because it's
Yeah.
nothing but salt.
No, I really didn't
miles.
take Redfern's and the Warlock's fight serious though.
I didn't either. It was a big build up for basically a really easy fight.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, like that wasn't what I expected. I enjoyed that it was like that, but it wasn't the way that I thought
That's
it
the
was
way
gonna-
you like if you're a person in the movie and that's actually happening to you. It's how you'd want it to end. But if you're from a movie watcher's perspective, no.
You want a little bit
But,
more.
yeah, I wanted to see a little bit more bloodshed at least. If they're going to rate it R, man, I mean,
Use
they
it.
could have at least gave us a good fight scene at the end.
Then what do you think about the score, the movie score?
I don't quite agree with it on Rotten Tomatoes or audience score, but IMDb, yeah, I about agree with that. I'd give it a 7.
What
I'd
about the
say.
music? Did you like the music in the movie?
I really don't remember much of the
Okay.
music. That nothing really stood out to me.
What about you,
much.
David?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It was all mainly like orchestra type stuff, like
Yeah.
what you would regularly see in a vampire witch.
I mean,
movie.
I'll say the movie definitely matched like the theme of what we're trying to go for this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with the music, but like the music, I think could have been a little better for the movie.
Well, what made me very I didn't expect this was that the musical soundtrack was by a composer named Jerry Goldsmith. But Jerry Goldsmith has made the soundtracks to movies. He has since the 60s. I'm going through his IMDb right now, but I'm trying to find more recent ones. He's dead now, obviously. But let me go like through the 90s, because I know you all have heard movies that he's composed. He has composed the movie Poltergeist,
Oh, okay.
can see
Rambo
that.
First Blood, Psycho Part 2, Twilight Zone the movie, Gremlins, Supergirl, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Legends, Poltergeist Part 2,
Daggone.
Hoosiers, Star Trek The Next Generation, Inner Space, Rambo 3, The Burbs, Warlock, Star Trek The Final Frontier, Total Recall, Gremlins 2.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of a movie called Mom and Dad Save the World?
Uh-uh.
I've never seen
have
it,
not.
but I've always seen it on things throughout my life. It looks
Never heard of
absolutely ridiculous, but
That dude's got a good resume.
medicine,
Yeah.
and I'm only in the
Very good.
to 1992. Basic Instinct, Mr. Baseball.
Wow.
He did
Oh
the music
my
for Mr.
gosh.
Baseball.
Wow.
What did
Rudy.
he do with this one?
He did
What-
the music for Rudy. So I'm wondering how they afforded him to do this.
No kidding. On a low budget.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where all their
Not really
budget
low,
went.
but still.
Let's see.
$3 million of it. I guess.
Congo. Have you seen that movie Congo?
I've heard of it, but I have not seen it.
Powder. Have you ever heard of the movie
I've heard
Powder?
of Powder.
Another Star Trek movie, The Ghost in the Darkness, Air Force One, The Edge. Have you ever watched The Edge? It's a pretty decent movie. That's where these people go up in like an airplane and I think one of them is having an affair with one of them's wives, but the plane goes down and they 3 survive and they have to survive the wilderness. But they do or don't survive. I
No,
can't.
it
I
sounds
like
like the
movies
Hatchet.
like that, though.
It kind of
Except-
is.
Yeah.
It kind of
Except
is.
Hatchet
And Liam
was-
Neeson
it
had a
was
movie
by
kind of like
itself.
this too, called The Gray, I think.
Yeah.
Small Soldiers. Have you ever seen Small
Oh,
Soldiers?
yeah.
He did the music for that.
Greetings, Alan. No,
The
shut up.
Mummy, Hollow Man. And his last movie was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So
No,
he's
that's an
that's
iconic
awesome.
movie.
he scored
That's-
217 movies.
So wait,
Wow.
he did The Mummy and Looney Tunes Back in Action, both Brendan Fraser films. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. 13th Warrior,
So
The
he's
Haunting,
worked back
Hollow
to back
Man.
with like some serious artists too.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it seemed like, even though the budget was low, they were trying to give
It's
the
like-
audience a good.
I mean, really, it seems like to me it's probably the guy that did the music seems like that's probably where a lot of their money for the budget went to.
Had
Because
to.
man, that is
That's quite the resume.
Yeah.
Quite the resume.
yeah, because like those aren't light movies.
No,
By
not
no,
at all.
By no means, not.
And they had him coming back for seconds too. I mean, there were 2 or
Yeah.
3 movies in there where he came back for the
Yeah.
sequel.
The sequel. So what about the originality? I thought this was a pretty original
Pretty
movie.
original.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it got it a franchise, but like you said, you said that like you heard like the second movie was just like they pretend like the first movie.
Like
third
this
half
one.
of- yeah.
Because they probably
Third.
got more budget, so they were like, okay, everything
Yeah.
we couldn't
They're
do.
like, well, we'll take what we just made from this one, and then we'll just make another one.
Yeah. And apparently that was successful because they made a third one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So What about the poster? That's the poster. The one I posted was the one you've seen. Had you seen that one before?
Yeah.
And that's the same picture. I think that's on like Tubi or something, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
I thought so.
Man.
So it's got Julian Sand as the Warlock in human form, and then the shadow behind him is like
The
a big,
Warlock,
demon.
that you don't ever see in the movie.
No.
Which is weird to me too. I never even realized
You know,
that.
you
till
know,
just
you know
said
what I
that.
feel like that might be. This God he's talking about.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Because whenever the woman's
Sam
face
Hahn.
whenever the woman takes on, her face takes on like the form, kind of looks a little demonic.
Which I thought was a pretty decent scene.
Well, wasn't that supposed to be the devil that he was talking to?
It never really clarifies.
Because I know whatever that thing was he was talking to was promising him that he was going to be like the son of the devil, basically. The offspring of the devil.
Interesting.
If he got these pages back.
We might have to revisit Warlock 2 Armageddon in the future.
Yeah.
I'll write that down because that might be one just to see where this goes. I don't know if we
Yeah.
want to go into the third one.
Yeah, I don't
but at
think we
least
need
maybe
to
the
from
second
what I
one.
heard, but yeah.
So next week, how about we're going to do one more quote scary movie since we missed the first week, so it'll be November 1st. What about The Thing? John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever watched this?
I've watched it. I'll have to rewatch it, though.
There's a remake of it, but I don't think the remake... This is considered one of John Carpenter's possibly best movie. Some people say Halloween. Halloween or this.
Mm-hmm.
So
my wife is actually going over to her friend's house tomorrow to watch The Thing.
Really?
John Carpenter's The Thing, yeah.
okay,
Like, yeah,
okay, very cool.
it's funny.
So yeah, do you all want to do that? And then
Yeah, let's do it.
after that, we're going to do the. I think the week after that, Tyler Payne will be in studio,
Uh-huh.
so we won't do a movie show
Yeah.
that week. We got some interesting things to talk to him about, and then the week after that, we were going to dive into 50-50?
Yeah.
50,
Oh, that would be cool.
and that's more of a kind of a drama.
It
Yeah.
is.
So yeah, we've never really dove. I mean, we dove into dramas here,
One
but
of the more serious things that Seth Rogen has done.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I talked to Aaron Lee earlier today, and we're going to try to schedule him sometime in November or early December to do Evil Dead 1 and 2.
Oh, sweet.
We'll do those together.
Yeah.
So and we got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to have some a new banner soon. You all will have a
Heck
ring
yeah.
light. We'll get all these kinks worked out with the sound by next week. And but yeah, we're going to stick around in just a moment and do the other people's show. But thanks for tuning in. It was a good movie, David. I'm glad you chose that.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah,
man.
I
That was
mean,
a
you
good
know,
one.
I
I'm glad
was
you
too.
remember those footprints with the hammer. That was
No kidding.
that's kind of what led to it. So yeah, next week we're going to do The Thing. Please check out the social media, the Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram, the Other People's Show. We will be back in just a moment.